This is a motion to adopt a temporary parenting plan.
Yes, Your Honor, it's my motion that I filed on behalf of Ms. Newman.
Any estimate of the time we're going to be involved in this?
Well, it's mostly the dispute, I believe, is on the day-to-day schedule. This is just a temporary parenting plan to get us from here to there. I think this case overall, it's a divorce case. It really is a custody case, and whether or not my client has what her interest is in the marital residence, there's not a whole lot more to this divorce case.
Right.
So we're just looking for a temporary parenting plan. My client is asking for a week on, week off.
And my client opposes a week on, week off. Mother moved out in June, and since June, she's only exercised 51 days with his children. Father's the one that's taking them to all of their appointments. Father's the one that sets up all their doctor's appointments, dental appointments, takes the extracurriculars. He's done everything with these children and always has. And so he opposes the plan. He's
But neither one of you have answered my question about how much time you think it's going to take to try this thing.
It shouldn't be more than a max an hour, Judge.
I'm going to write that down. I'm going to have you both sign it because I don't believe it's going to go that quickly, but we'll see. All right. Then, Ms. Turner, it is your motion, so you may proceed and call your first witness. Newman, if you'll come around, please. You'll step up, raise your right hand, and be placed on the oath.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, that the truth so help you God?
yes.
Now, let's take a seat right here. Microphone,
You state your name for the court.
Monica Newman.
And Ms. Newman, you were married to Mr. Newman, who's seated here at council table. How long were you all married?
4 years.
Okay. And you heard his...
Microphone down a little bit. These things aren't great. You have to speak almost directly into them, and we're recording everything. So.
You heard his counsel say that you left the marital residence, I believe it was July?
In June.
June, okay. And we're not getting into the grounds, but why did you leave the marital residence in June?
Because we do not agree on, I guess, the way of what a spouse should be or how a spouse should act.
Now, you have children with Mr. Newman?
Yes,
How many children do you have with him?
2 biological.
And what are their names and ages, please?
Scarlett Newman, she's 7, and William is 8.
Okay. And you said biologically, too. Is there another child that was in the home?
There were 3. One has gone off to college now, so there were 2 others.
Okay. And what were their names and ages?
There was Brielle Newman. She is 19. Kaylee Newman, who's in her room right now, she's 14. And then James Newman is 12.
And did you have a relationship with those children?
Yes, ma'am, I've raised them for the last 10 years.
So tell me, when you left the marital residence in June, where did you go?
I went to my relatives
And where is your grandmother's house?
in Carlisle, next door to my mother.
And Carlisle is how far from?
About 15 minutes
And where is the marital residence located?
in Dover.
So is it 15 minutes apart from each other?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So your children go to school where?
Dover Elementary.
And since your separation in June, tell the court about what you and Mr. Newman have done with the children for you to see them and for him to see them.
So in June, when I first moved out, I didn't have the kids come to my residence that much because my grandmother and grandfather, it was their residence I moved into. They got put in the nursing home. So when I moved in, all of their stuff was still in there, and I had to clear it out, clean and get ready for my kids to be able to come stay with me.
Okay. How long did that take you?
Maybe a couple weeks. And then, I know we tried to be cordial, and I feel like for the most part we have. I'm not sure when we started doing week on, week off basis, but we did start doing that, and I believe it was around the beginning of the school year.
August time frame?
I believe. I'm not 100% on that, and I don't have my phone or a calendar, but and during that time, every time that he has the children, I respect his time with the children, but then every time that I have the children, he constantly harasses me to want to see them, want to talk to them, want to do this, want to do that. And then it's always something. When I have the kids, it's always, oh, this is going on, can I have them? This is going on, can I have them? And sometimes I do agree to let him have the children during my time for something that I believe that they're going to enjoy.
And does Mr. Newman reciprocate in that respect when it's his time and you have things that you want to do with the children?
I usually don't ask when it's his time because I respect the fact that it's his time.
All right. So how many occasions do you think that that's occurred since you had the children coming to stay with you in August on a week-on-week-off basis?
Almost every week there's an instance where he asks.
And do you acquiesce to that?
Do I what?
Do you allow him to have additional time when he requests that?
Depending on the situation, yes.
Okay. Would you ask the court for whatever time that the court orders for you today that he be ordered not to try to interfere on your time and not to request to have the children during that time?
Yes, ma'am, unless it's something that's, like a once in a year thing. Like, for example, Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was my time with the kids on our week on, week off that we've been doing. He has family that comes in every year from out of state. So I allow him to have the children Thursday and Friday to spend time with those family members.
And did he ask for that?
Yes.
And you allowed that? Okay. So when you've been doing the week on, week off without him asking for the additional time, what days were you exchanging the children?
On Sundays.
Okay. And what time on Sundays generally has that been?
We don't have a typical time set up. I guess it kind of just depends on what works for us because he works every other Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So are you asking that a specific time be set for the exchanges?
Yes.
And are you asking for a Sunday to Sunday?
Yes.
Okay. Now you've heard his counsel say that you've never been to the doctor for them. You've never taken care of them. Is that true or not true?
No, ma'am, that's not true.
Okay. Tell the court a little bit about what you have done as a parent during these children's lives.
Well, as I said, we've been together for 10 years, only married for 4. For the most part of our marriage, I was the one that took care of everything because for our relationship. Because for the first few years, I was a stay-at-home mother. When I came into our relationship, I stayed at home with this 2-year-old at the time.
Buckle up, guys. Today we are going to dive into a tense courtroom moment where the stakes are immediately set. The motion for a temporary parenting plan is filed, and right away, we sense that this is more than just legal paperwork. Questions about time and custody establish the underlying conflict. We get a glimpse of the divorce case, but the real battle revolves around the children. Even in these first moments, the tension between parental responsibilities is palpable. The courtroom energy hints at looming disputes. This short opening clip perfectly sets the stage. The audience instantly understands the personal and legal stakes. It's brief, crisp, and hooks you from the very start.
And then I believe it was the following year I got pregnant. I had our 2 children back to back, was a stay-at-home mom up until my daughter was about 2, and that's when I went back into the workforce. When I went back into the workforce, I would still have time, to do stuff with the children. And for the most part, I have been the one, either me or his mother, to take the children to do these things. Now, he does participate in activities like extracurriculars, but he also excessively signs them up for extracurriculars. Okay. Sometimes doing 2 sports during one season, like soccer and baseball, softball. And
has that been an issue?
Yes.
And are you asking the court to order that 1 sport per season for these kids, not to have multiple sports per season?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that's in their best interest?
Yes, ma'am.
And does that also inhibit your ability to spend time with them when he signs them up for multiple sports?
Sometimes.
What do you do? What work do you do?
I'm a deputy at Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, and I work as a school resource officer.
So you're an SRO in Montgomery County?
Yes, ma'am.
What school are you assigned to?
Sango Elementary.
Okay. So you drive from your home to Sango Elementary?
Yes, ma'am.
And what's that commute time for you?
About an hour.
Now, you have inquired with the Stewart County school system about the bus transportation to multiple homes. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to pass forward to you a letter that I provided to Ms. Wilkerson. Judge, that's
I'm sorry,
That's hearsay. That letter is hearsay.
you objecting?
That letter is hearsay.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm understanding what you're objecting to. What is the,
The letter says that with a court order, the buses can transport to two separate houses.
the objection is to the hearsay, which is a statement made out of the courtroom that's being introduced to prove the truth of that statement, so I would have to sustain the objection.
Are you asking the court to enter an order that sets out a week on, week off schedule for you and Mr. Newman?
Yes, ma'am.
And with that schedule, will the children be allowed to ride the bus to your house?
As long as he agrees to it, because that is what I was told by the superintendent of transportation.
Again, objection. That's hearsay.
You can't say what they've told you.
Sustain.
Have you asked him to sign off on the form that allows the children to ride the bus
Yes, ma'am.
to your house and his house?
Yes, ma'am.
And what has he told you?
He typically ignores the statement.
Has he said whether or not he would agree to sign off so the children can ride the bus to your house and his house?
No.
Are you asking the court to order that schedule so that they can ride to both houses on the bus?
Yes, ma'am.
Has him ignoring that prohibited you from spending additional time with your children and allowing them to ride the bus to your house?
Yes, ma'am. I'll say my mother has to get up every single morning to drive my children to school and pick them up every afternoon because they cannot ride the bus to my residence.
If they ride the bus to your residence, will your mother have to go drive them to school and pick them up from school every day on your days?
No.
Has she been doing that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, what is your work schedule? When do you get to work and when do you get home?
I don't work typical schedule as an SRO. So on a day where I don't have to work in the afternoon, because we are required to work games typically in the afternoon. So on a typical day when I'm not required to work in the afternoon, I get to work at 6:45 a.m. So I leave my residence at 5:45 a.m. and then I wouldn't get home until about 5 p.m.
Okay. And what time does the bus pick up and drop off at your house if they were allowed to ride there?
I believe the pickup is about 6:30 a.m. and the drop off is 3:30 p.m.
So who is at your house to care for the children until you get home from work?
Either my mother or my father.
And do they have a grandparent relationship with your mother and your father? What does Mr. Newman do?
He is a patrol officer at Harris Police Department.
So you're both in the law enforcement business. Prior to this case being filed, what was his work schedule?
He does the alternating schedule. So like whatever, he works 2 days on, 2 on, 2 off, 3 on, 2 off. And so basically he's off every other weekend.
Okay. But he has, does he work at nights at all?
Yes, ma'am. Every 3 months his schedule changes. And
To
so for 3 months he works night shift, 12-hour shifts from 6 to 6. And then for 3 months he works day shift. So it goes.
And this is what he's done for how long?
Since last year, maybe July or August of last year.
Is that how long he's worked for them?
He's worked there since, I believe, May of last year.
And is that in Paris, did you say? Where is it? Okay. So he travels to work as well. Is that right? All right. Do you do your children's schoolwork with them?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So typically my daughter has a book that she has to bring home every night. You know, it was the same thing for my son. He was in the same grade. So it's a book, you know, typically like 4 or 5 pages to read every night. There's a paper that we're supposed to sign. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not very good at signing it sometimes. But they read that every night. I know my son works on his writing. But a lot of times they don't really get a lot of homework. I mean, they're in 1st and 3rd grade.
And have you always been the one to help them with their schoolwork?
Not always, no. I'll say throughout our marriage, I think we've done pretty good at equally helping out.
Are you asking the court to enter a 50-50 schedule?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you asking that it be from Sunday to Sunday?
Yes, ma'am.
And the children be able to ride the school bus to your house and to his house? Do you think that's in your children's best interest?
Yes, ma'am.
That's all I have, Judge.
We'll continue to cross-examine.
Good morning, Senator.
So when you leave the house at 5:45, you're not getting the kids up at 5:45 to get them ready, are you?
No, ma'am, I get them up at 5:20 every morning.
To get them ready?
Yes, ma'am.
And who do they stay with in the mornings?
With my mother.
With your mother. And they stay with your mother in the mornings before they get on the bus. What time does the bus come?
Well, I believe around 6:30, but they're not getting on the bus, so I don't know, because I leave before that time.
If they were to get on the bus, though, it would be 6.
I believe around 6:30. Yes.
And then you said on days you don't have to work games. Isn't it true you work games 2 to 3 times a week? Sometimes 4?
Sometimes, but I try to schedule my time around when I don't have my children.
Okay. And those 2, 3, 4 times a week, how late are you at school?
If I'm working a game, a lot of times I'm at school until about 9 p.m.
So you're getting home at like 10 o'clock?
Yes, ma'am.
And ma'am, did you show up to any of the parent-teacher conferences this year?
No, ma'am, I believe I was probably working those days.
Okay. And when my client tries to call the kids, do you let him talk to them on your weeks?
Not typically, no. If they had asked me to talk to him, I would let them. But he tries to talk to them every single night.
And at your house, what are the sleeping arrangements?
As of right now, they are currently sharing bedrooms.
Okay. And your official move out is June 11th. Is that correct?
I would have to check my calendar, but it's roughly, yes.
And you didn't work, you get the summers off because you work those late nights. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are you aware that in July you only had these kids 4 days?
I am not aware, and I would have to go back to double check my calendar for that.
Okay. Do you think you had them 50-50?
I'm not sure.
Okay. And July was the month that he worked overnights, correct?
Here, we get an intimate look into the mother's perspective as she explains leaving the marital home. She details moving into her grandmother's house and the early challenges of arranging her children's stay. The tension grows as we learn about how the parental duties have been divided since the separation. Every decision, from schooling to daily care, carries emotional weight. Her testimony paints a vivid picture of family dynamics and early custody friction. The audience starts to feel the complexity of managing co-parenting under strained circumstances. It's a mix of logistical challenges and emotional strain. This part gives context to the custody disputes and sets up the first real conflict. The courtroom atmosphere feels raw and human.
I'm not sure. I would have to double check.
Okay. So you don't know where the kids were staying when he was working overnights?
Where they stay at?
Mm-hmm.
When he works overnights, they typically stay with the 14-year-old.
Okay. You stay with his mother too?
Maybe, on occasion.
But you don't know because you didn't have them in July. Is that
I'm
right?
not sure, ma'am.
You're not sure if you had your kids?
I would have to double check my calendar.
Okay. Do you have your calendar with you?
I do not.
Okay. And then you say you've been doing a 50-50 week on, week off schedule. Are you aware that you only had 7, 8, about 9 days in October?
1 week I was gone to a training for work. And that was during my leave. And I offered him the chance to have my children instead of leaving them with my parents.
Where in November with your 50-50 schedule, you only had them for 10 days? In November?
I'm not sure, but that also goes back to him asking for days like Thanksgiving.
Okay. Now, how many doctor's appointments have you taken them to since you moved out?
Since I moved out, none.
Who takes them?
I'm not sure.
Okay. And extracurriculars. Don't the kids go to church every Wednesday? They're supposed to?
I don't know that I would say supposed to, but yes, they typically do.
But they've
Their
missed it every time on yours time. Is that correct?
I didn't know that I was required to take them to church.
I didn't say that. I just asked, have they missed it?
Yes, ma'am.
And you've missed the majority of their baseball and soccer practices and games, is that correct?
No, ma'am.
How many have you been at?
I'm not sure.
Tell me a little bit about William. Do you suspect William might be autistic?
I don't know that I would say autistic. I believe since he was born, we have always thought that he was slightly different. But up until this point, his father has never wanted to do any kind of testing.
Okay. Now, are you aware whether or not William sees a counselor?
I would assume that he does now.
You would assume that, you don't know?
I don't know.
I want to talk about the older children. There's a 14 and a 12-year-old in the home, correct?
That's correct.
That 14 and 12-year-old, their mother passed away. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you became the mother figure. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And how many times have you gotten those kids since you moved out in June?
None, because I have offered numerous times.
You offered once to take him to the zoo. Is that correct?
No, ma'am. I have sent a message to the 14-year-old before telling her that she's welcome to come to my house anytime. And then just a few weeks ago, when I stopped by to drop off my children, I also told her that she's welcome to come see me anytime she wants.
Okay. But you haven't called them.
No, ma'am.
You haven't talked to them or hung out with them or seen them.
No, ma'am, because I'm not going to force them to have a relationship with me.
And Mr. Newman has never said you can't see him.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, with you getting home at 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, however late you get home, who's taking care of your kids?
My mother and my father.
And before, when my client had that overnight shift, would he cook before he left for the night?
Sometimes.
And how much support have you paid towards these children in the last 6 months?
Support as far as what?
Child support, giving him any money, anything to help with the kids?
Why would I give him any money when I provide them clothes and shelter and food and do all that myself as well?
On your 51 days that you've had since
I'm
the
not
last
sure
6
if it's
months?
51 days.
So you have not provided any support except for when they're with you.
No, ma'am.
It's true the kids have always been engaged in several extracurricular activities. Is that correct?
Yes.
And on Sundays, when that time fluctuates, that's because you go hiking every Sunday, correct?
Not every Sunday, no.
Most Sundays.
Some Sundays, yes.
As far as homework goes, when homework comes home, you're supposed to sign off on it every day, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you done that at all in the month of November?
I'm not sure, but I did say prior to when I was questioned by my attorney that I'm not very good at signing stuff like that.
Okay. So you're just not very good at signing. That's what your testimony is.
I'm saying there are times where I do forget to sign a paper.
Have you recognized that document?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is it?
It's where my daughter gets a reading book sent home every day.
Okay. And how many times have you signed that she actually did her homework on the time that you had her?
None. But according to this,
Yeah, object, this sheet only covers November 10th through December 8th, which we haven't gotten.
What is the sheet?
It's
Some sign-off
it's
sheet.
the sign-off sheet for the kids' homework that she doesn't sign.
And are you objecting to it as hearsay?
Object to it as hearsay, Judge.
Sustain the objection.
It doesn't appear you signed it anywhere that you've had the kids, correct?
not according to that.
I object to that as hearsay, Judge.
Sustained.
I don't have any other questions.
Redirect.
Yes, Your Honor. You said, Ms. Newman, that you're able to schedule the late nights that you work games on the weeks that he has the children. Is that what I understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So on the weeks that you have the children, you can be home at night.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said that he switches his job, his shift to overnight every 3 months.
Yes, ma'am.
So is it 3 months that he works overnight?
Yes, ma'am.
And the kids are staying with the 14-year-old overnight?
That's my understanding, yes, ma'am.
And you said the doctor's appointments prior to you leaving the marital residence in June, you and his mother carried the children to the doctors?
For the most part, yes.
And he did not?
Maybe on occasion.
Did you all go to church Wednesday nights when you all lived together?
No, ma'am.
Is this something new that's happened since you left the marital residence?
No, ma'am. They had already gone. I believe they started going to church sometime last year with their cousins. And his sister is the one that picks the children up and drops them off.
Okay, so he doesn't go to church with them.
Correct.
All right. You were asked about William, and you're questioning whether or not he was autistic. Did Mr. Newman reach out to you and say anything about a counselor?
No, ma'am.
So he has
Actually, he may have mentioned that he wanted to get him in counseling.
Okay, and did you agree with that?
I didn't object to it.
But has he reached out to you and said, hey, I've signed William up for this counselor, and here's who it is, and here's where he's going?
No, ma'am.
Okay. With regard to the other children, do you consider to be a mother figure to them?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like to see those children?
If they would like to see me.
Do you have concerns that Mr. Newman is influencing or manipulating? Objection.
Absolutely.
The objection is to speculation. I'm going to sustain it unless there's some other foundation shown.
Based upon what you've observed when you've seen the children and reached out to them, have they been responsive to you?
His other children?
Uh-huh.
Not really.
And when you went to the house to get your stuff, did you see that child and ask that child when you said that child could come visit you? How did that child react?
She kind of just shrugged it off and said, okay.
Was Mr. Newman there?
No, ma'am.
Did you feel like that's the regular relationship that you had with these children?
No.
Now, you were asked about Sundays. Does Mr. Newman also do things on Sundays?
I'm sure most people do.
So are you just asking for a set time to exchange, and maybe that'd be Sunday at 6 p.m.?
Yes, ma'am. And I would also like to say that typically when we do exchange, I am the one who almost always picks up and drops off our children.
Would you like to meet somewhere halfway?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, with regard to phone calls, are you able to talk to the children during the time that they're with Mr. Newman?
I haven't asked.
How often would you like to talk to the children when they're with Mr. Newman?
I would say maybe a couple times
A week? And would you ask that Mr. Newman talk to the children how many times while they're in your care per week?
Say a couple times a week.
Now, you say that you haven't asked. Tell the court what the dynamics of your relationship is with Mr. Newman regarding your access to these children. How does he treat you with regard to these children?
He treats me like they are his possessions, like he is in control of them and he should be able to control.
Now the stakes climb as the week-on week-off arrangement is dissected. The mother recounts requests for extra time with her children and the ongoing push and pull with the father. Every exchange, every interaction, starts to feel like a chess game. The suspense comes from the uncertainty. Who gets the children and when? The courtroom becomes a stage for revealing tension between cooperation and control. The mother's words show genuine concern, yet also frustration at repeated conflicts. This segment emphasizes how fragile these arrangements are. You can sense the growing strain on all parties involved. The audience is drawn into the intricacies of parenting under scrutiny. The emotional stakes are clear and compelling.
Anytime that I can talk to them, anytime that we can see them, what they should or shouldn't be doing. And as I said, during my time, he harasses me constantly. So, can I see them? Can I talk to them? Can I do this?
And are you asking the court to put some sort of controls on that communication to the point of it not being harassment during your parenting time?
Yes, ma'am.
All I have to.
Recross. All right, sit down, man.
Solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Watch that. I may ask you to speak more directly into the mic. They're pretty good. I may have to speak up, sir.
Mr. Newman, will you say your name for the record, please?
James Paul Newman Jr.
And Mr. Newman, where do you live?
Live here in Dover.
And was that the home that you lived in together with kids?
Yes, ma'am.
And what are the sleeping arrangements for the kids in that house?
I have 5 bedrooms, so 1 room per child. I'm in my room.
Okay. So kids all have their own room?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you heard the testimony. I believe she moved out beginning middle of June sometime. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And since that time, you've been keeping a calendar of the number of days that you've had the children and the number of days she's had the children. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know offhand, let's say in the month of June, how many days you had the kids versus how many days she had the kids?
Offhand, I believe I had them 25-ish days. She had them 5-ish days.
Okay. And during that time, was she working?
During June, no, I don't think so.
Okay. And in July, do you recall how many days you had the kids?
Roughly the same. I believe I had them 27 days and she had them 4 days, and 5 days and nights. 27 and she had them 4, I believe.
Okay. Was she working during that time?
She might have been a little bit of July.
Okay. And during that time, did you work?
Yes, ma'am.
And during that time, was that during when your shift was an overnight shift? Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And who watched the kids during that overnight shift?
I'm fortunate enough to have a lot of family close by, so between my mom, my sister, sometimes my daughter would help out. Combined effort.
Okay. But not Miss Newman.
Correct.
And then at some point, did she approach you about doing a 50-50 schedule?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Do you remember when that was?
I believe it was somewhere in September, maybe late September.
Do you remember in August how many days you had the kids versus how many days she had the kids?
I do not recall. I do have roughly 20 and 10.
Your Honor, may I use this to refresh his recollection?
You know,
I'm assure you of this. Mr. Newman, is that calendar that you keep to keep up with the days that you have the children?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you write those at the time that you actually had the children or the time that she actually had the children?
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't manufacture this afterwards?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, in August, if you can take a look in August, when did the kids start school? Do you remember?
On the 4th was David's freshman orientation, so it would have been right around the first week of August, or full of August.
Okay. And did you have the kids every week? And it appears like she had maybe weekends during August.
A meeting, Judge.
Yes, ma'am.
Staying to lead the witness.
All right.
What days did you have the children in August?
It appeared I had the kids for the majority of August, from Sunday until till Friday day. And she had some of Friday night and Saturday nights, and one Sunday night.
Would you get them back on Sundays?
Yes, ma'am.
And that went on for the entire month of August.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember the number of days?
I had them for 22 nights, and she had them 9.
And then in September, you said she approached you about a 50-50 plan. Is that correct?
I believe that's when it was.
Okay. Can you look at the first week of December or of September and tell me how many days that she had the children?
She had them for 3 nights, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay. And then the following week, who had the children?
I did.
And then the following week, who had the children?
She did.
Following week, who had the children?
I did.
And then the following week, who had the children?
She had them most of it.
Okay. And then that led into October, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And in October, if you will look, how many weeks in a row have children?
3 weeks in a row.
Okay. And then, do you recall how many days you had the children?
I had them 21.
And then in November,
Start from 7:09 to 10:23. This section dives deep into parental responsibilities and the friction around extracurricular activities. The mother details her contributions to appointments, school involvement, and the challenges posed by multiple sports. Each point she makes highlights both her commitment and the ongoing conflicts. The bus transportation debate adds a tangible logistical hurdle, creating suspense about who controls the children's daily routine. You feel the pressure mounting as small disagreements escalate into courtroom arguments. The dynamic between formal parenting duties and informal support creates tension. The viewer gets a clear sense of why temporary orders are so contested. It's a perfect blend of factual testimony and emotional charge.
how many weeks or how many days have you had the children?
21.
She had them how many?
10.
So it looks like in September, you guys were doing week on, week off. Is that correct?
Partially.
Okay. But any of the other months were you doing week on, week off?
Not consistent. No, ma'am.
Now, since she moved out in June, who's been taking these kids to doctor's appointments?
I have them.
And prior to June, did you take the kids to doctor's appointments?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And since June, have there been any school meetings or anything like that that you've had to attend?
Yes, ma'am. And I quite fond of
Sure.
me. So I have had, help with my mother, my sister, whatnot. Have helped out in different events. But the vast majority of the doctor's appointments and all that have been me taking them. There was one instance I recall, I believe it was right at the beginning of school, for the first month in September, where I was able to call and talk to Scarlett. She sounded terribly sick, so I asked if they made an appointment for her because Mom had her. And they said no, so I went and scheduled the appointment.
I would object. I don't know who he's talking about. They said I would object to hearsay. I don't know who he's
So
talking.
let's establish who's saying what first, and then we'll determine whether it actually is hearsay.
Okay.
Ms. Wilkinson, if you'll clarify that.
Yes. William, who did you call in September?
I called my children.
Okay.
I called Monica to speak to my children.
Did you speak to Monica about Scarlett being sick?
I called Monica's mother. Monica was at work.
Okay. Did you get to talk to Monica at some point?
The executive.
Okay. And did you ask her about Scarlett being sick?
We did have a conversation about Scarlett being sick.
Okay. And what came of that conversation?
I scheduled the appointment, and I got Scarlett the next day and took her to the doctor. The truck broke.
Did you try to get Scarlett earlier?
Yes, I tried to get her that money.
And what were you told?
I was not able to.
Objection, but who, I don't know who told him what.
No,
Again, if you clarify who he's talking to, so that we'll know whether or not there's an objection.
Okay. Did you talk to Monica that night about getting Scarlett?
yes,
Did she allow you to get Scarlett?
no.
Now, as far as any of the children's parent-teacher conferences or anything like that, has Ms. Newman showed up to any of those?
No, ma'am. This time.
And as far as baseball and soccer practices and games, you heard her testimony that she wasn't sure how many she's attended or missed. Do you know how many she's attended or missed?
I would have to look back and do some calculations, but I'll say to be generous for her, she's probably made it to a third of the games and practices.
Okay. Are the games on the weekends?
Sometimes.
I want to talk a little bit about William. You heard testimony that she said he might be in therapy. William was actually in therapy, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you tell Ms. Newman about the therapies that he was in?
Yes, ma'am. We've had several conversations because we always suspected there was something off with William. We weren't sure if it was autism, but we thought he was possibly on the spectrum or there was something going on. I had never really taken mental health very seriously until I'd say really getting close to this summer. But we had conversations about it, and I signed him up for some therapy.
Okay.
So he began seeing a counselor.
Did you tell Ms. Newman about those dates?
Yes, ma'am. And tell her what day and time it was and tell her she wanted to attend.
Did she ever attend or become involved in any way?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Right now, with your suspicion that William may be on the spectrum, are you trying to set him up to be evaluated?
Yes, ma'am. I've spoken with his teachers and with the counselor of the school and their family advocacy down in the school, as well as the doctors. So I'm waiting on a referral, or not referral, I'm waiting on the scheduling through, I can't recall the name, Global Alliance.
Work schedules and childcare logistics take center stage here, revealing the real-life complexity of co-parenting. The mother explains her early mornings and the long commute, while the father's alternating shifts add another layer of difficulty. The suspense comes from seeing how children's daily routines hinge on these schedules. Every detail about who is available to care for the kids matters enormously. The tension is amplified by the fact that both parents have demanding law enforcement jobs. The audience gets an insider's view of the practical difficulties that often go unseen. It's a meticulous account of effort and compromise, heightening the drama. The stakes feel personal, emotional, and immediate.
For his autism evaluation and ADHD screening and all that, as well as the school, Mr. Evans, his and city wise are scheduling all the through the school counseling.
Did Miss Newman take part in any of that?
No.
Did you tell her about it?
This last one, no, I don't believe so. The interest dropped off very rapidly, and it's constantly me approaching and trying to have conversations, and it was consistently ignored. Same with the invitations, so it started to taper.
What kind of behaviors do you see out of William?
William can be incredibly sweet, but he also he's I would say for his age, he's more emotional, and he struggles with controlling his emotions and understanding his emotions. And he can be very aggressive and violent, and he can have those outbursts. And that's the part that concerns me the most. It's not just his focus in school from bouncing around everything, but also because he's becoming more violent with other students, sometimes siblings. Just because he does struggle, or he has struggled with that. I've worked with him a lot on controlling his emotions and what's okay, what's not. But,
Okay. How does William behave when it's time to go to mom's house?
it's a struggle every time, especially over the last probably 6 weeks, 8 weeks or so. He, he says he doesn't want to go.
Objection, Judge, to what William says.
And he can't testify to what he says, just
Pardon?
testify to how he behaves.
Correct. Sustain the objection.
Understood. He cowers. Sometimes he hides, or he tries to run out the door so he doesn't have to go over there.
The courtroom heat rises as the mother formally requests a 50-50 custody arrangement. Sunday to Sunday exchanges and the bus transportation issue add layers of complexity and suspense. The courtroom atmosphere is tense. These aren't just requests, they're battles over routine, safety, and access. The judge's role becomes crucial, and the audience can feel the weight of these decisions. Every detail of timing, school commute, and shared responsibilities is a potential flashpoint. This segment is pivotal because it crystallizes the mother's goals and exposes the practical implications for the children. Viewers understand how fragile the arrangement is. The tension is high, and the narrative becomes sharply focused on custody logistics.
Objection to his speculation, but I think he can testify to what behaviors he sees, but he can't narrate as to what those behaviors indicate.
So I think you're assigning what you believe to be the reason why he does it, and that's a subjective thing on your part.
When Monica would come and say, "Hey, William, it's time to go," instead of him running to the car, he would sneak outside, whether going through his window or the door, and I would catch him and bring him back in sometimes, or have a talk with him saying, "Hey, you're going to go see milk, you're going to go scare a puppy, you can go there," or "Hey, mom's got a new trampoline for you, you can go over there." But then he would be in tears, he'd be very upset, visibly upset anyway.
Okay, and this has been going on for the last 6 to 8 weeks, you said?
It's progressively worse for the last 6 to 8 weeks, but the last 3-4 months at least.
Now, as far as parenting, when you guys work together, who does the majority of parenting responsibilities fall to?
It flip-flopped. So initially, when she and I got together and first had kids, I was the one working, and she stayed at home with the children. I still did the majority of like the cooking, but she did like the laundry. We had a pretty good split. But anytime it came like to discipline or working with emotional with the kids or things like that, that was always my role, like development. She definitely made sure they were safe. She did a great job to make sure that the core necessities were taken care of, as far as laundry and.
Did something change?
Yes, she entered law enforcement, and the roles at home shifted pretty dramatically, and she pulled away more from those the other half role. But I mean, what I was putting in, what I was and our communication of expectations became different, became blurred there, and so I was making pretty much all the meals, especially at dinner time. And then I would, speak to the kids. I would discipline the kids. I would take them out to do things. Some things we would do together. And I would encourage her to still spend time with the kids, but take them out. But that was a rarity. So it just, she pulled away, and she would stay predominantly in the bedroom, whether it was on the phone or a video game or whatnot. And then just kind of yell at the kids across the house in that fashion. And that was another tension point that we would argue about.
Okay. Now, you have two kids from your previous marriage, is that correct?
I have three, but two of them,
Three.
one's out of the course.
And did Monica take on the mother role for those children?
Initially, yes. Yes, when we first got together, when they were itty bitty, she did. But then, definitely closer to her in the workforce, that it all fell apart. There were no more, I can't recall a single time where she would say, hey, how was your day? Or, I love you. Or, hey, let me go take you to do something. Or, you know, how are you doing in school? Or anything like that. It just didn't exist.
Since she moved out, how many times did you see these kids?
She's not to see them at all.
Didn't she text one time trying to take him to the zoo?
She did offer to take them to the zoo, but never to come see them.
And when was that?
Just a couple weeks ago, a couple weeks ago.
You ever told her she can't talk to kids or can't come get them?
No, ma'am, I've always encouraged just a loving household. You know, even if it's two separate houses, we can still be the same crazy, you know, we've always been. Like, that shouldn't affect anything.
Okay. And now, your work schedule, what does that look like now?
What does it look like now?
Yes.
I have a very flexible schedule that as long as I get my 40 in, it doesn't matter what hours of work, but typically it's somewhere around 8 to 3 or something like that. Monday to Friday.
So you're not working overnights anymore?
Well, I do have 6 overnight shifts left that I am committed to, but at the beginning of my role.
Okay. And before those shifts, they rotated, is that right?
Yes, ma'am, every 3 months.
Every 3 months. So, and was it accurate, the description of the 2-3-2 schedule?
That's about as easy as they can make it for people that I'm working in.
What time do the kids go to school?
The school or the bus?
What time do they go to the bus?
They go to the bus at about 6:40 when the bus comes. 6:30, 6:40, depends how quick they're running that day.
So when you worked overnight shifts, what time did you typically get home?
I would usually get home about a few minutes before the bus would run. I'd say 5. If I got lucky, I got a little bit more than this.
And then after you got off work, or I guess before you went back to work in those overnight shifts, what duties did you have with the kids?
I mean, they know as soon as they get home, it's knock out the homework, make sure anything's like it's taken care of, any behavioral problem at school, and then it's getting dinner all rock and roll. Usually I've already kind of got it started, but getting that pretty much wrapped up so they can eat, and then shortly thereafter is when I have to leave for work.
During your marriage, did Miss Newman cook dinner often?
I would say often, sometimes it doesn't need work perfectly.
Now, you heard the testimony about you harassing her. Have you been allowed to speak to your kids when she's had these children?
No, ma'am.
Do you call and ask to talk to them?
I don't call anymore because I know she has a busy schedule, everything, so I just send her a message. Hey, I'd like to talk to the kids, or hey, the kids call.
Do those just go ignored?
Yes, ma'am. Now they do. Used to not be called, but
And when you have children, do you allow them to call their mom freely?
yes, ma'am. Anytime they want, we can call based on their plenty of times.
Does she call and initiate any phone calls with kids?
No, ma'am.
Kids have a routine and schedule at your house?
Yes, ma'am.
What'd that look like?
As soon as they get off the bus, like I said, we all sit around the kitchen table area, and everybody works on homework, makes it work, reading the books, we make sure all that's taken care of, and then, like I said, we address any problems that we have with board issues from school, both good and bad. We also address the good things, but then we transition into household that big. We kind of cycle through who's doing what at what time. So especially if there's something like a sport event going on, we have to go to the ballpark or whatever, then we're cycling, hey, you're eating while you're in the shower, and then we swap around. But if there's none of that going on, then we all sit there and eat, and then it's clean up, all the chores, everything, get showered, and then we either read or we play some kind of game or we do a family movie until it's time for the emergency to get done.
Okay. Now, speaking of extracurriculars, what extracurriculars do your children do?
Children have always been very active. Play football, baseball, basketball, softball, and then with the advice of the counselor, put William boxing to really help his aggression. But very active kids, and then they get taken to Paris a lot for swimming or summertime and spend at the lake. But yeah, pretty much every sport that Sturt County has to offer.
Who's been responsible for taking the kids to extracurriculars?
Over the last 6 months, or since they were in school, in sports?
Over the last 6 months, you can tell me.
Over the last, since Monica's left, it's been mostly put on me to get them there. Now, sometimes it's my, family's very close-knit and very involved in the ballpark. I have several, whether it's my sister with all her kids, and we'll share kids sometimes. Let's get to which ballpark, I have so many kids. Sometimes we're Woodlawn or sometimes we're home. But yeah, mostly put on me.
Have you noticed an issue with the kids' school weeks or schoolwork on the times that the mother has had the children?
Yes, ma'am. We've had conversations with the teachers about it.
Yes, that's about what they said.
Fair enough. Yes. I've noticed that there's several times where there's, homework assignments missing or the folder missing or homework assignments not signed off on, the reading's not completed, or assignments not completed. Sometimes it's just a 1 day, 2 day kind of thing, but then sometimes it's an entire week that nothing's been signed off on for good.
Okay. You think these children would benefit from a week-on, week-off schedule?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. What kind of schedule are you suggesting?
I believe that if they're with me for the school year, that way they keep their routine, especially William with his struggles, emotionally, everything, and they have the support of their siblings there too. But they have a very structured environment, especially with my new transition in my job. I'm going to be there every breakfast, get them on school every morning. I'll be there when we get home every night. And then I'm 100% open to any time that Monica wants to come get them. I told her from the get-go. I mean, if she has time off, she's home. I'm getting them, spend time with them. They're your kids. Take them hiking. Oh, very good. But if you want to have dinner with them at the house, I'll leave. I'll go to the gym. So, there.
Have you given her that option in the past?
Yes, ma'am.
Has she taken it?
No.
Start from 1632 to 2216. Cross-examination begins, and the stakes explode as credibility and accountability are challenged. The mother faces detailed questioning about actual days with the children, missed appointments, homework, and extracurricular activities. Every answer adds tension, as inconsistencies and gaps create suspense. The father's lawyer presses hard, exposing vulnerabilities. This segment is gripping because it's a battle of facts, evidence, and perception. The emotional undercurrent is palpable. The audience feels both frustration and anticipation. Every moment counts. Testimony about care, support, and routines adds layers of tension. This is the courtroom drama at its peak, revealing both personal and legal stakes.
As far as support goes, you heard her testimony. She's not provided any support. Is that correct?
Hold on. I believe I just misspoke. She has taken advantage of that. She came after she finished training. I know she came, she grabbed them one night. I can't recall any other time.
Okay. But just one time, please. And then, as far as support goes, you heard her testimony. Is that true that you've been providing all the support for children when you've had them?
Yes.
Who took them school clothes shopping this year?
I just in June.
Did she help with any of that?
She did drop off some clothes after I asked her for a couple months. She dropped off in September. I'm not sure if you want to look the exact date up.
That's great. You can just give me your own ball.
Yeah. In September, October, she did drop off some clothing for witness call.
Okay. Ask the witness.
Ms. Turner, you may cross-examine.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Newman, you and Ms. Newman have been together for 10 years, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And during that time, you said she said and you said she was a stay-at-home mom and she's a very good mother, isn't she?
At one part, she was a stay-at-home mom.
So, was she a good mother?
Define good mother.
I'm asking you, Mr. Newman, was she a good mother?
That's a very complex question.
Well, sir, I don't think it's very complex. It's a yes or no answer.
No, I don't think she's a good mother.
Okay. Now, you said, and I wrote down what you said, just because we're in two separate households, that doesn't mean we can't be the same great team we have always been.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct? And you said that you and she shared the responsibilities when you were living in the same home. Is that right?
At times, the relationship, yes, ma'am.
And prior to her leaving the home in June, she and your mother were the ones that majority took these children to the doctors and to sporting events and all of those things, correct?
No.
Okay. So you deny that?
Correct.
Okay. And you, prior to her leaving the house in June, hadn't gone to the parent-teacher conferences, correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So you deny that as well?
Correct.
Okay. Now, you have been working with, how long have you been working at the job that you're at now?
About a year and a half.
Okay. And what is your position?
Downtown Austin. I've been a patrolman, but now I've transferred over to downtown Austin.
Okay. You did that transfer after this divorce was filed, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And up until this divorce was filed and you all have been exercising this parenting, you would work 3 months. How many days a week during the day?
I'm confused at the saying you said something about parenting.
Since she left the house,
okay,
and the time that you were working there, you would work shifts where you would work 3 months during the day and 3 months at night, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're still doing that?
No, ma'am.
Well, you said you were committed to 6 more night shifts.
Right, I have six night shifts,
Uh-huh.
and then I am downtown officer, so I'm not rotating anymore. 3 months, 3 months.
But from June till now, you got 6 more shifts. You've been working 3 months days, 3 months nights, correct? Okay. And since she left the house in June, when you were working nights, you were leaving your children at home with the 14-year-old.
Have I ever? Yes, I have.
Okay.
Do I regularly? No, absolutely not. The majority of the time, we're with either my mother, my sister. It's a big, takes a village.
Okay. And you brought that 14-year-old here to court today, haven't you?
Yes, ma'am.
And you brought that 14-year-old here to court today to testify against my client, didn't
No,
you?
ma'am.
Okay, well, why'd you bring the 14-year-old here?
She wanted to express her opinions on the matter and
On what matter?
on the separating of our family. And, she's a very mature individual, and I felt that as long as it's not in front of everybody, if it was a private conversation, I felt that was okay.
Okay.
Especially because she's out of state with stroke over, but she's not.
There's been a lot of conflict between you and Miss Newman with this separation, hasn't there?
There's been some conflict.
And that 14-year-old had suffered some of that conflict, hasn't she?
Almost.
Okay. And you thought it was a good idea to bring a 14-year-old here today to try to get more time with these two children you have with Miss Newman than she has. Isn't that the bottom line of what's going on?
Yeah. I support people who express themselves if it's safe and mature to do so. If she believes that she should stand up and say something. And I'm not saying I don't necessarily believe it would go in my favor, but I believe it would give the court a better idea of the entire scope of what's going on, as opposed to just two individuals that are going through divorce that might be at each other's throats sometimes or something like that in the eye of the courts.
You don't think it might not be, that it might be not beneficial for a 14-year-old to have to come to court to testify against her stepmother?
I don't believe in the situation it would be a negative impact. I did reach out to different counselors and to family members about that because I was a little conflicted. But in the end, no, as long as it's a protected environment, no, I don't think so.
Now, you have brought to court with you today some calendars.
Yes, ma'am.
That you said that you have been taking since Monica left the house. You've been writing down close at time from when she left. Is that what I understand?
Yes, ma'am. That was your recommendation when we had our consultations.
Okay. Now, Mr. Newman, and I want to bring to the court's attention that after I filed for this divorce, Ms. Wilkerson advised me that Mr. Newman had made a phone call to my office and had a phone call with me that I do not recall. I called the board. I got an opinion from the board, and I do not recall having a meeting, some phone consultation with Mr. Newman, and I want that on. I'm stating that for the record.
All right, let the record reflect that is the statement you've made.
Yes, ma'am. I have a comment that I've been.
Now, you and Miss Newman went on vacation to the beach in June, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And she didn't leave until the middle of June, correct?
When her official move out date was.
When was that?
No, that's what you said, like the middle of June.
I'm asking you.
June 11
Okay.
was her, I guess you'd say official move out date, but that's not whenever she left the house.
And the week before that, you were all at the beach together.
Yes, ma'am, most of the time.
Yet you told court that Monica only had 5 days in the month of June with these children.
And I had them 20, and then together we had them for 5. And those together 5 were whenever we were together, which actually looks like it was 4. So I need to readjust that. Oh no, the drive down was the 5th.
Now, you heard Ms. Newman testify when she moved out of the marital residence. She moved into her grandmother's home and had to get it ready for the children. That's true, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
And it took her a few weeks to get that done, didn't it?
No.
Are you saying she lied?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in July, you say that she spent 4 days with the children, and you had the rest of that month, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I'm looking up at the top right hand, you got M4.
Yes.
So is that how many number of days that you're saying she spent with the children in July?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was still within a month of when she moved out of the house, wasn't it? She moved out in the middle of June.
June
Correct?
11, correct. But
Okay.
it was, part of that month was still within a month of her move.
Then you heard her say in August she came to you and asked you to begin a week on, week off with her. Is that right?
Is it right I heard her say that?
You heard her say that,
I
correct?
did hear her say yes.
And did she come to you and ask you for a week on, week off?
At some point, I believe it was September, but
Okay. In August, you note that she had 9 days and you had the rest of the month. Is that right?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then in September, 30 days, you had that she had them 13 days, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then in October, you say that I've got at the top right hand 10 or 11 days in. Is that what you're noting that she had in October?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In October was the month she had training for a week, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's why you had the children 3 weeks in a row, because a week of that time she was in training for her job, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then in November, this past month, you don't have a number of days up here in November. What are you saying the day count is in November?
She had them 10 and I had them 21.
Okay. But you asked her for the week of Thanksgiving, which was her week, to have the children because you had family in town, correct?
Yes, ma'am. She let me have them 3 nights.
She let you have them on the 19th, and you had them through Sunday when you returned them to her, correct?
I believe Thanksgiving would be the 26th until the 23rd.
Well, on your calendar, it says you got them on the 9th. Well, it actually says you got them on the 18th, that Tuesday. And she allowed you to have them,
That was my week.
I'm sorry.
So
The next week, the
Thanksgiving.
26th, it says you got them on Wednesday, the 26th,
Yes, ma'am.
and returned them on, looks like you had them still on Sunday.
No, ma'am. She got them the morning of the 29th because her family wanted to do Thanksgiving on Saturday.
And she returned them to you on that Sunday because that was your week.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So, yeah, she gave
Now,
me-
all of the exchanges, you talk about these exchanges, Mr. Newman, you've insisted that these exchanges be at your house, correct?
Not necessarily.
You have refused to transport the children to Miss Newman's house.
I have offered plenty of times. I've offered to take them down and go hang out in the creek, to go spend time with grandma, to go down to her house.
Have you done any exchanges with these children at Miss Newman's house?
No, ma'am. She is very particular about her privacy down there, and I want to respect that and I understand that. Whereas my home has been opened up. She's lived there before. There's not that.
Have you offered to meet her halfway to exchange the children?
I have not. There hasn't been any conversation of discontent with how the schedule's been going, and it seems to be very comfortable for the children and easy for everybody involved. She drives right through there. I mean, it's in the middle of town. It's right next to Spring Street. It's all the way to schools and shopping and everything.
You would agree that transitions for children, these children are difficult.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And would you agree that maybe if we did transition somewhere else, like at a mutually agreed place, it might be a little bit better for these kids?
It could be. I could see that being a possible solution.
Ms. Newman also asked you, in addition to doing a week on, week off, to sign a bus note with the transportation system at the Stewart County School System, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So that the kids could ride the bus to her house and to your house, correct?
Yes.
And you have refused to do that.
Correct.
Why?
Because I believe that the kids have a very good, safe, structured home at my home where they're well taken care of on all aspects, not just their basic needs of food and shelter, but also their academic needs, their emotional needs, their developmental needs are all taken care of there. I focus a lot on that. I read a lot of books and speak to counselors and people that are much smarter than me about it. And so I provide that environment, and I also provide an environment where it's like, if you want to spend time with your mom, go spend time with your mom. If she wants to see you, she can see you. If you want to talk to her, you can talk to her. It's completely wide open, because the best thing for my kids is to have two parents that love them, that are involved, and that want to do these things. And I 100% have no problem with that. Like I said, I'm fine leaving the house if she wants to stay there and hang out with them. I'm fine her taking them. She wants to go get ice cream. I don't have any issue. I want her to be involved. I've always wanted her to be involved as a mother.
Well, my question was, she's had these children on school days. Why have you refused to sign the bus note so that the kids can ride the bus to her house and her mother doesn't have to get up and take these kids and pick them up every day off?
I'm hoping that the court will look at this and make a decision and determine that the children will have a much better, safer, more secure environment that's going to develop them much better all the way around, and we get to see both parents more if they stay with me throughout the school week. So why would I sign up for a school bus thing to eliminate that and to be more detrimental to my children? That doesn't make sense.
So you thought it was more favorable to you coming to court today if you refused to sign the school bus note to allow the children to ride the bus to her home?
No, ma'am. I thought it would be in more favor of what better interest of the children if they have this environment to where all their needs will be taken care of.
So you don't think they ought to go to Miss Newman's house at all during the school weeks?
I believe that during the school week, they should catch the bus every day at my house, correct?
Well, that wasn't my question. My question was, is it your position that you think that Miss Newman should not have any time during the school week with these children at her home?
No, she'd take them, pick them up, go hang out at her home.
Overnight?
No, the purpose.
Defeat the purpose of what, Mr. Newman?
Of raising children in a safe, stable, and healthy environment.
What about being a team like you testified earlier?
Absolutely. She can come hang out with them anytime. She can take them out. She can tuck them in. I'll go to the gym. That's fine.
So you don't think she should have these children at her home overnight during school weeks?
During the school week, no.
Now, who is William's counselor?
I can't recall her name. She's right down here at the bottom of the hill.
You don't know William's counselor's name?
Unfortunately, my recollection is not the best. That's why I keep notes. But I can't recall her name.
And you haven't given that counselor's name to Miss Newman either, have you?
Well, if I told the name, but I never said the place and what time it was. I think I did say the name, actually. So, yeah, I guess if I had my phone, I could search the text message.
But you don't know who it is?
No, I'm not talking about her. But he does not see her anymore.
Well, when did he stop seeing her?
A couple months ago. Because I'm transitioning him over to Meg Houston out of Paris. She's much more reputable with children. It would be a better fit with William.
Okay, have you told Ms. Newman that you just decided to transfer William over to this person in Paris?
It's not a done deal yet.
So you haven't told her that?
I don't believe I told her it was transition, but she didn't seem very interested in the first one. So why would she be interested in the second?
Do you just think that she's just not interested at all in her children? Is that your position?
Correct. I wouldn't say at all.
Now, with regard to support, you also, in addition to being a law enforcement officer, you have a real estate license.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you're actually with a company, correct?
Yeah.
What company are you with?
EXP.
And where is EXP?
It's my firm's based out of Nashville, Franklin.
And you've had that real estate license for how long?
On and off, 11 years.
And you also worked for Keller Williams?
Yes, ma'am. That's where I started real estate 11 years ago.
That's all the questions I have.
Redirect.
Mr. Newman, is Ms. Newman aware that you were working overnights during the summer?
Yes, ma'am.
Did she ask to have those kids overnight at all?
No, ma'am.
And is she at home during the school week to take care of these kids?
Objection. I'm not sure he knows when she's home and not. He says he doesn't go to her home, so I'll object to that.
Okay, so
The objection is as to the foundation of knowledge sustained without a show.
okay, so how when you guys were together, you lived together,
Yes, ma'am.
you knew her schedule.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any reason to believe her schedule's changed?
No, ma'am.
Right. She testified anything today that her schedule's changed?
She said that she's adjusted her schedule based so she can be home, but I'm not sure how she can adjust the schedule of Sango's extracurricular or the other that she attends picks up for.
And so, to your knowledge, having lived with her, she home during the school week?
No, ma'am. Not typically. Luckily, we had one day a week where she was home to have her clothes.
Okay. As far as this real estate license goes, are you actively selling real estate?
I haven't sold a house in years. I wouldn't.
Finally, the case edges toward resolution as further clarifications are made about overnight shifts, doctor visits, and church attendance. The suspense softens but remains because these details influence the judge's eventual decision. We see the ongoing negotiation between parental authority and practicality. Even in these closing moments, the tension lingers as every logistical choice affects the children's daily lives. The audience gains perspective on how court rulings shape real family outcomes. This segment acts as a summary, tying together prior conflicts and highlighting the stakes of custody arrangements. The narrative feels complete yet leaves the viewer contemplating consequences.
Nothing further, Judge.
So what exactly are you suggesting, Mr. Newman, that she have in the way of a residential time with the children?
She can have whatever weekends that she prefers to have. We have all the breaks. She's off on the summertime. Sometimes she has more time with the kids then. I'm very open to when she has it.
Well, this is a temporary hearing, which means that all I'm supposed to be doing today is to say, while this case is pending before the final hearing, this is what the two of you are going to do. And I have to designate one of you as the primary residential parent and the other one as the alternate residential parent. Or I could put both of you as a residential parent, equal residential parent, which is what she's asking. And then depending on if I make her the primary residential parent, I would have to set a schedule for you. Well, let me ask this. Assuming that I make her the primary residential parent of these children for some reason, what would you want to have with them?
What would I want to have?
Yeah.
I just want them through the school week, so Monday through Friday.
Even if she was, but I mean, if she's the primary residential parent, so you're saying even if she's the primary residential parent, which essentially is the old term, she has custody. I'm trying to get you to look at it from a different perspective. You are only focused on the fact that you want the kids to be with you during a week of school week. I'm asking you to put yourself in a different scenario and to look at if you were not the primary residential parent, if you were not the person who the children resided with primarily, what would you want to have in the way of time with the children?
It's a large hypothetical.
It is a large hypothetical, but it's the truth of what I have to decide because I have to make a decision. I know it's clear to you what ought to happen, but it's not so clear to me. I don't know either one of you.
Right.
All I'm hearing is both of you are offering me drastically contrasting versions of what has happened both before and during your separation. So I have to make a decision. That decision may be to approve what you're asking, but it may be to approve what she's asking. Well, I may do something entirely different. I may designate one of you as a primary residential parent, and that could be her. And if she's the primary residential parent, what would you want to do as far as how often you want to see your children?
I suppose as much as possible.
Right. You'd want to see them as much as possible.
I understand, yeah.
Okay. And would that mean you just want to see them on the weekend?
No. I'd want to see them, whenever I could, spend time with them, with all my children together. But I want to be there not just to hang out with them and have a good time, but also to help them through their struggles and everything. And that's not a part-time job.
I understand. Would you understand the reason that I'm giving you that hypothetical is that it's very clear to you that children ought to be with you and that you think she's not a good mother and has abdicated her responsibilities. My job is to make sure that both of you have a good relationship with the children. And one of the factors I'm supposed to consider is which of the parents is most likely to facilitate a good relationship with both parents and the children, not just one.
Right.
You understand that?
Understood. And that's what my house and my phone, and it's all been wide open since long before we ever filed. I said, hey, if you want to move out and you want to live like this, that's fine. And if we get a divorce, let's work this out, because once the lawyers are gone and our friends in our ears are gone and the judge is gone, it's me raising these kids. That's all that's left.
All right, my last question is this. Why did you agree to the week on, week off when she asked you in either August or September? Why did you agree to it?
I didn't agree to it. I wasn't going to step in if she was coming over to take the kids because we're both in law enforcement. That's how situations turn out.
So you're saying there was never an agreement to alternate the weeks?
No, sir. And that's why there hasn't been a consistent they're predominantly with me. I've never interfered, and if she came and got them, and I would even tell the kids, like, hey, listen to your mom. You know, I'm still supportive, even though I don't agree with her. I still believe that they need, number one, to respect their parents, but also that, you know, someday she does become that level mom, and that, I mean, I'm not going to let the kids be bad to her or disrespectful to her just because she and I don't agree on the same marital path.
Okay.
Great.
Any questions based on what I've asked? Thank you. You messed up there.
So,
Wilkerson, you have any other witnesses?
I don't.
Any rebuttal proof?
No, Your Honor.
You wish to be heard in argument? I'll hear you.
I think we used our hour, Judge. We're going to waive arguments.
There are no easy answers in divorce cases and custody cases, especially. If there were easy answers, it wouldn't be before this court. It would be in an agreement between the parties. Oftentimes when the parties separate, there are things that occur during the separation that create a problem for one parent or the other that results in a lot of animosity, and then that animosity bleeds over into the situation with the children, and it colors everything that goes on between the parties. In a situation like this, I believe, and based on what I'm hearing, that has happened to an extent in this case. That whatever the circumstances were of the separation between the two of you, it seems to me that there's been some animosity that's coloring some of the positions that both of you take. I think there's resentment by Mrs. Newman over the control that Mr. Newman is exerting, in her opinion, trying to control her and the time that she has with the children. There's resentment on his part that she's basically, in his opinion, walked away from the marriage and has basically not been, taking care of the children as much as he has. What ends up happening is then we come into a hearing such as today, and I'm getting two markedly different versions of what has transpired between the two of you during the time that you've been separated. Mrs. Newman has testified that there was basically an agreement to equally share a week on, week off, starting in August/September. Mr. Newman says, oh no, there was never an agreement to that there was just basically, I didn't fight that because of the fact that we're both in law enforcement. Both of you have unusual jobs that have scheduling that creates a problem. The court, in making a decree for even temporary custody, has to follow the statutory guidelines that are given, and I would simply refer you to the Tennessee Code. Our state legislature has set forth some guidance. And in 36.6.101, it sets out in subsection A1 what the legislature has to say about these types of situations in a suit for annulment, divorce, or separate maintenance, where the custody of a minor child or minor children is a question. The court may, notwithstanding a decree for annulment, divorce, or separate maintenance is denied, award the care, custody, and control of such child or children to either of the parents or to the suit, or to both of the parties in the instance of joint custody or shared parenting, or to some suitable person as the welfare and interest of the child or children may demand. And the court may decree that suitable support be made by the neutral parent, by the natural parent, or those who stand in place of the natural parent by adoption. Such decree shall remain with the court and be subject to change or changes as modification as the agencies of the case may require. And it goes on to say that except as provided in subsection A2A, neither a preference for nor a punishment for or against joint legal custody, joint physical custody, or sole custody is established. But the court shall have the widest discretion to order a custody arrangement that is in the best interest of the child. So that is basically where we are today. Now, I also have the requirement to follow some of those guidelines that 36.6.106. And the factors that I have to consider even on a temporary basis are the strength, nature, and stability of the child's relationship with each parent, whether one parent has performed the majority of parenting responsibilities relating to the daily needs of the child. In this instance, I found that it has been a mutual shared arrangement up until their separation, that both of them had stable relationships with the children. After the separation, whatever the cause of the separation was, then clearly it seems to me that Mr. Newman has been the person who has performed the majority of the parenting responsibilities tending to the daily needs of the child. Each parent or caregiver's past potential for future performance of parenting responsibilities, including the willingness and ability of each of the parent or caregivers to facilitate and encourage a close and continuing parent-child relationship between the child and both of the child's parents. In this situation, I think that this is, again, where I think the animosity has bled over into the dealing with these parents and the minor child. I didn't ask for this case to come to me. I was hoping that the two of you would be able to resolve your case by an agreement. But because it has come to you can't agree, and before you put it in my hands, I'm going to make the decisions. So if one of you thinks you have control over the situation, you're wrong. Unfortunately, it's now rested with this court to have the control. And I will tell you what you can and can't do. I don't want to do that, but I will do it because that's my job and you've put it in my hand. So my concern about this is that both of you have demonstrated a past and potential for future performance of parenting responsibility. I think that's an equal part on your part. Unfortunately, I think Mr. Newman has demonstrated by both his testimony today and the things that have happened, a willingness to try to perhaps keep the children with him and nurture them in his situation that he thinks is appropriate to the exclusion of Mrs. Newman. An example of that is, for example, the fact that he makes her come to the house to pick up the children, although he says, "Oh, I'd be willing to meet anywhere else." But the fact of the matter is that one of the most telling things in this court's opinion is his refusal to sign a permission slip for the children to travel by bus to both of their houses. That's for the benefit of the children. That's not for the benefit of any particular person. But I think Mr. Newman perceived that as being something that would be disadvantage to him and advantage to her, and with hearing on custody. And it's an example of some control that I think Mr. Newman has demonstrated that is not in the best interest of the children. So that would, again, be an example of a failure to facilitate and encourage a continuing parent-child relationship between the child and both of the child's parents. The next factor is a refusal to attend a court-ordered parent education seminar, which I don't find is applicable in this case at this point. The disposition of each parent to provide the child with food, clothing, medical care, and education and other necessary care, I think that is, again, equal in both parts, but I think that clearly he's probably provided the majority of support to the children due to the fact that he's had a longer period of time or a greater number of days than she has, and there's been no other exchange of custody. The degree to which each parent has been primary caregiver, and I've already dealt with that, but I think that currently this facts show he's probably been the primary caregiver for the children. The love, affection, and emotional ties existing between each parent and the child. I think they both love their children, and I think they both want to have a good relationship with the children. And as a result of that, I don't find that there's anything that would be equal. In other words, the emotional needs and developmental level of the child. There's been some talk about William's needs, but I think it's a certain situation that needs to be addressed, and there will be something that will be looked at long term as to what the parents have done to try to ensure that. Moral, physical, and mental and emotional needs, fitness of each parent as it relates to the ability to parent the child. I don't find that there's any physical, mental, or emotional problems with either of these parents. child's interaction with the relationships with other siblings, relatives, and step-relatives, and so forth. Both of these parents, because of their schedule and their work schedule, have had to rely on other parts of their family to help provide care. The proof has been that Mr. Newman has worked at a job that has required him to work 3 months, followed by 3 months of days, and that has been alternating. Now, the testimony he gives today is that has changed or is going to change, and he still has 6 days, according to what I wrote down, of care of where he'll have to work overnight. But he's relied on family to help him with that. In this court's opinion, one of the failings has been to leave a 7 and 8-year-old child in the care of a 14-year-old overnight is not an acceptable parenting. That's my opinion, and I'm the one who's having to make the decision. If the building had caught on fire, with a 14-year-old had been sufficiently mature enough to be able to take care of everything that happened. If someone had attempted to break into the house with a 14-year-old had been sufficiently mature enough to do that. I understand he says that didn't happen every time, but apparently it was something that happened regularly. And as a result of that, I think it was highly questionable parenting on behalf of Mr. Newman to do that. And it won't happen again from these next 6 days. That 14-year-old will not be left overnight in the care of his younger children. But beyond that, I think that the interaction of his older children, I hate seeing children be brought into the middle of a divorce situation. And I hate to see a 14-year-old have to come to court for any reason. But to bring that child to court and potentially have that child testify places that child right in the middle of the dispute between her father and her stepmother. But it also puts that child in the middle of the dispute about her sibling, where she's been taking a role in the custody aspect of it. And that's regrettable in this court's opinion. The importance of continuity in the child's life and the length of which the child is in a stable, satisfactory environment, that I don't believe factors as much in this case because this is a temporary situation. It was the parties have been separated for a few months, and as a result of that, anytime there's a separation, there's going to be a disruption of the normal situation. So I don't think the continuity situation would apply very much. There's no evidence of any physical or emotional abuse to the child or the other parent. The other factors, character and behavior of any other person resides in the frequency. Don't have any information about that. The children are too young to express a preference. The parent's employment schedule, and this court is of the opinion that both of them have somewhat unusual that requires them to be gone overnight, and I think that they both have made arrangements other than this 14-year-old. I think it's been a situation where the parents have made arrangements to provide for the child if they have to work later if they're going to be gone overnight. And don't see that there's any other factor that, in my opinion, under that statute that would apply. So keep in mind that a temporary parenting plan is just that. It is as one of our old judges used to say, it is a means of keeping a life and limb together until you get to the final hearing. Because this case has only been pending for a short while, by our standards anyway. This is an order that has to go down to try to preserve the situation between the two of you and for the children's benefit to allow you to get through to the final hearing. One of the things we do in a parenting plan is to give the parties an opportunity to establish a pattern of behavior and a pattern of how they would care for the children that would allow us to then make a judgment about how that's likely to continue. And I think that it would also mean that we would be able to put a pattern down or a system down that will allow the two of you to show the court, not just me, but any other judge, what you believe to be appropriate behavior. And for that reason, sometimes the temporary situation is not one that is the final hearing. In other words, what I put down today is not necessarily going to be what the final hearing would be, but it will be an opportunity for the two of you to demonstrate your parenting. Based on what I'm hearing and the length of time that's been going on, and what I found to be an agreement that the parties had for an equal residential schedule on a temporary basis, this court finds that it is in the best interest of the minor child or children that the parties adopt the parenting plan proposed by the plaintiff in this case, which provides for an equal residential time with the children on a temporary basis, with the exchange of the children to take place on Sunday afternoon at 6 p.m. In the interim period, they will exchange at a they will exchange at a mutually agreed halfway point, or they can agree to split transportation with one of them, the person receiving the child providing the transportation. There will be phone calls between both parents and the minor children. Each of them will have at least 2 phone calls per week. Any additional phone calls that they make will be at the discretion. I'm not going to say that you put it up to them to make a phone call. If you call your children, Mr. Newman can call them when they're with you, and you can call them when they're with him. And you call them for reasonable times and places, but at least 2 times a week is the statutory minimum. There will be a signature for permission for the children to ride the bus to and from each of your house, so that there is no question about that. And again, the parties will both be involved in any therapy for William that takes place. Both of them will be responsible for the cost of any such therapy. They will also be shared in the responsibility for getting him to and from any kind of therapy sessions if the schedule during the time that the child is with them. I've stated already that the 14-year-old will not have any responsibility overnight of taking out. Clearly, she can provide care for the child or children, the younger siblings, on a short-term basis, but not overnight, pending the final hearing in this case. In addition to that, the court is of the opinion that any enrollment in the extracurricular activities will be by joint agreement. Again, this is temporary. I expect we're talking about for a period of a few months, and it is not necessarily going to have to be that way in the future, but it does need to be by agreement. Any kind of non-emergency medical care for the children will be by agreement as well. Both parents will be involved in the children's educational needs. It's been alleged that there have been some deficiencies in your providing care for the children's educational needs during the time they're with you. That'll be a factor the court will look at in the final hearing. And this is your opportunity to establish that you can do that. This is not an order that is intended to try to take the children away from Mr. Newman and to give them to you. He has a valid point. He thinks they need to be in a stable relationship and a stable environment, and to have the opportunity to grow up in a stable environment. That would be great if the two of you had stayed together, but you didn't. As a result of that, you're both seeking a divorce. So for that reason, you're going to have to come to terms with the fact that the children are not going to grow up in a home where both of you reside, unless this is dismissed and you resume living together as husband and wife. As a result of that, you've got to set aside whatever the animosity is towards the other. And clearly, I think there is animosity by both of you towards the other. It's not Mr. Newman alone that has some problems. I think you have some problems towards him. You're going to have to be able to set it aside. There will be no negative statements made about the other parent to these children or in their presence. And that's one of the reasons I was concerned about the 14-year-old, because I can order you not to say anything negative about the other, but when a 14-year-old comes into court to testify on behalf of one parent, it's a natural childlike relationship for that child to then try to explain to the younger sibling what they've been doing and why they were doing it and what they said. And there's a natural curiosity of children about that. We want to try to isolate the children from any sort of negative thoughts. You have 2 parents, and they have 2 parents, and they need to be able to grow up thinking that their parents can get along well enough to parent them even though they're not married together. and I'm going to say this because I say this to every divorce case that comes before me with minor children. You have an opportunity to try to show your children that the two of you can be mature enough that you can put aside whatever the animosities you may have and co-parent your minor children, whether it's on an equal or a less than equal situation at the final hearing. Because if you don't, if they see the animosity that exists between the two of you, if they sense how you actually may feel about each other with that type of animosity, then what's going to happen is they're going to grow up dreading every major event in their lives. They're going to dread every Christmas, every birthday, every event that comes up. They're going to be dreading it because they're worried that mom and dad are going to be arguing, or there's going to be some controversy or something that's going to happen. And you get a chance to ruin all their major events, their high school graduations, college graduations if they go to college, going off to college together on the first day. You'd all like to be a part of that. And if you two can't stand each other to where you can't be together, then you're going to ruin that for your children. Eventually, they may want to get married. And when they get married, you want to both be there and be a part of that. And if that's the case, you don't want to have your child day ruined because of the worried about whether mom and dad can get along. And then you're going to eventually have grandchildren if you're lucky. And when the grandchildren come along, you're both going to want to be involved in their lives. And as a result of that, I'm just trying to get you to think long term instead of the immediate pain that you feel. Going through a divorce is no fun. And it's natural to have some animosity. It's natural to feel resentment towards the other and to feel like the other is trying to blow up your entire life. Just remember your life to feel like moving out suddenly after the situation, that this is disrupting the whole life and that he has a natural right to feel resentment. I'm asking him to put that aside, but you have to also keep in mind that how you act or what you do from this point forward is also going to be a factor that will be considered by the court at the final analysis and the final hearing. Mr. Newman, I don't expect that you're going to be happy with my ruling, but I think it is important to try to give both of you an opportunity to parent these children, and we'll see what happens. If the schedule doesn't work out to the advantage of the children, then it won't be the permanent schedule at the end. But I feel that under the evidence before me, this is the appropriate thing to do. Parties will exchange information regarding their income, and the issue of retroactive child support will be reserved if there is any claim for that. But in the interim, they will exchange information about their incomes, and child support will be calculated based upon that basis on a temporary hearing. And is there anything I have not addressed?
The only question I have, judges, about this new therapy, can we have order communication so that my client can talk to the therapist and maybe schedule?
Both parties have an equal right to communicate with the therapist for William, and there's already been one selected, so we're not going to make any changes about that, but obviously Mrs. Newman has the right to be involved in that and should be involved in
That's
it.
fine. We just don't want Mr. Newman making the appointments on my client's way shoot.
And that same thing,
Do that.
the same thing goes with the school. Both parties have the right to be involved in the school activities and so forth. All right. Ms. Turner will draw the order and this court stands adjourned.
All rise.